Vladimir Putin has just finished up a historic late-night speech in which he never goes and does any press release super late. It was 2 o'clock in the morning Russian time. By the time he was done his speech, he was supposed to start at midnight, in which we got a presser around 11 saying that at midnight, President Putin would be giving a speech and that he would not have time to take any questions from journalists because of how late it was. And he was about an hour and 35 minutes late for his own speech. The speech wasn't that long, but in it, he really talked for about 95% of it about how Ukraine violated ceasefires and other things. And really the important part was at the very end, in which he said this.
Despite everything, we suggest to the Kyiv authorities to resume the talks that they stopped in the end of 2022, to resume direct talks. And I would like to underscore this without any preconditions. We suggest to start, without further ado, next Thursday on May 15th in Istanbul, where they took place before, where they were seized.
That's right, that he proposes that Kyiv and Russia resume direct negotiations without preconditions, and they propose that they start on it in Istanbul on May 15th. That's this upcoming Thursday. Now, that is nothing compared to the options that were given to Russia, which was a ceasefire starting Monday, or we're going to put more sanctions and give weapons to Ukraine. He created essentially a third option, which at this very moment, it is 2:23 a.m. Russian time. I'm pretty sure that Zelensky was up, but so far we haven't heard anything from anyone since it is in the middle of the night. Now, that wasn't the only thing that Putin said. I put together a quick little bullet point. I just wanted to go over them, and then we're going to talk deeper about what this actually means. So in it, he says that Ukraine has never responded to Russia's proposed ceasefire for the Victory Day, and Ukraine immediately launched large attacks against Ukraine. I need to tell you that that's not true. Russia attacked Ukraine almost instantly throughout the entire time. There was no ceasefire. Now, there were ceasefires from the sky. That did happen. Russia didn't attack as many times, though, technically speaking, there were some accounts of things being in there. So, no, that never really happened from the Russian side. Ukraine, at the same time as Russia was going after them, they responded. And that was across the entire front line. There was no quiet part of the front line. Next, he says that Russia has repeatedly put forward ceasefire initiatives, but they were sabotaged by Kyiv. He said that Kyiv repeatedly violated that 30-day pause on strikes against infrastructure. Also not true, but Russia did. Russia conveyed its position on the Victory Day ceasefire to its Western counterparts, but Ukraine never stopped it. Once again, Ukraine did stop it. Russia kept on going. As you could see, it's Russia who's pretty much talking about themselves by saying Ukraine, pretty much blaming Ukraine even though it was them. They said that Russia didn't rule out extending the 3-day May ceasefire depending on Kyiv's response, in which Russia right now has got drones in the sky headed towards Ukraine. So clearly Russia's not extending their ceasefire unless that's Russia considering themselves extending their ceasefire. They said that during that Easter ceasefire, Ukrainian forces violated it over 5,000 times, which, again, is not true at all. He says that during the ceasefire days, Ukraine attempted 5 attacks on the Russian border in the Kursk and Belgorod regions, as well as other areas of the special military operation, in which Russia repelled all Ukrainian attacks during these 3-day ceasefire, and that Ukrainian armed forces suffered heavy losses when Russia repelled their attacks during the Victory Day ceasefire. All of which, not true, because I even have Russian Telegram channels that put up saying that, oh, Ukrainians are here and they're still pushing through, and we're talking about them in Kursk. And when it comes to yesterday's ceasefire, Russia says that they weren't pushing forward, yet they lost 1,310 men. They lost 4 tanks, 49 artillery, and 7 armored vehicles. So how do you lose so many if, quote unquote, you yourself weren't fighting? That being said, was this late night speech worth it? No. It was kind of weird in the sense that he didn't announce anything that was on the table in hopes that the sanctions would stop. And I know there's going to be people arguing with me in the comment section, mostly from the Russian side, who are going to say, oh no, there's no weakness here. He just wants to end this war. Not true. He could just end it today and that's it. But he definitely bent down here. Because while earlier he said, bring it on when it comes to sanctions, he's now saying, well, we want to talk to Ukraine directly, without the United States, without the UK, without anyone. The reason why is because Putin feels that he can bully Ukraine one-on-one, when realistically it's not true. Because Ukraine now has the backing of almost every single country across the entire world. And the most important one, the one that Putin's actually is scared of, is the United States. And Trump is getting fed up with Putin. According to the Wall Street Journal, who put up an article, I think it was yesterday or today, stated that when it comes to peace negotiations, he can't believe how bad Putin's been and how hard it's been to work with Putin to come to a ceasefire, which you and I both know is something that, yeah, obviously, it's Putin. This, to me, is the first time we're seeing Putin actually bend a knee, in the sense of he's weak and he knows it. He's scared of the United States, he's scared of the sanctions, and he's really scared of Ukraine getting more weapons. Now, when it comes to the preconditions, I think it's funny, because he knows what he's asking for is ridiculous. And I think he was hoping that the United States, when Donald Trump first got into office, would have said, okay, Ukraine, roll over and do this stuff. And they didn't. And somehow, Putin thought that, Trump would have somehow lost support for Ukraine, and then that was that. But in Putin's way of trying to continue his war, he somehow convinced Donald Trump that Putin's the bad guy, and that Putin's the one pausing and causing all these issues. So Putin actually made the situation worse for himself by not just coming up with something reasonable. Instead, he's coming up with a third option, which doesn't make sense. Let's have a direct conversation in Turkey. Now, I think Putin's thinking that Donald Trump's going to say, well, there you go, Ukraine, go talk to them. But when it comes to the no preconditions, that doesn't mean that Russia and Putin still not going to have the same list of demands. The same things they wanted from day one, which they still peddled even last Thursday when Putin said, Ukraine can't join NATO. They can't join the EU. They have to demilitarize. We want the area we have occupied, which is not their territory, and we want the other half of the states that we currently don't have in our possession, which J.D. Vance the other day just said they're asking for too much. You can't ask for things that are not in your control. They actually shouldn't be having the Ukrainian lands to begin with. Russia doesn't want Ukraine to have EU peacekeepers. They don't want to have any of this stuff, which is just like, would have been 3 years ago, just rolling over and say, okay, Russia, take whatever you want. And so, no, you can't come into this, Russia, demanding all these things. So we need to have a conversation about what exactly they're going to go into with this. And we also don't know who they're going to speak to, because we know Putin and Zelensky is not flying to Turkey to meet. By direct conversation or negotiations, we're talking about Kremlin representatives and Ukrainian representatives. But that's where we're at right now. Guys, a lot of information is going to be coming out. Before I let you go, I will check one more time on Twitter and Telegram to see if Zelensky even is going to respond at this late, since it is 2:30 in the morning, Russian time, and it is in Kyiv right now. I think it's, 1:30? It's 2:30 in the morning as well. But no response from Zelensky. I'm going to keep you guys updated, so please do make sure you subscribe, you turn on notifications, and you give this video a thumbs up. I'm Joey. Stay safe. See you later.